So here's an overview of the discourse volume across about 120 of our cities and counties. And this is during May and June. And in this period, our data detected about 10 million online interactions from all across the nations about face masks. And as you can see, interestingly, during the second half of June, there's a massive spike in the discourse, actually of 300%. And that's around when, in a lot of states, they decided to delegate mandate setting down to local governments, and public online discourse pretty much jetted up, as you can see in the graph here.
So as it becomes clear that Arizona's key COVID metrics are steadily trending upward, on Wednesday, the 17th of June, Governor Ducey issues a Stay Healthy, Return Smarter, Return Stronger order, which, among other things, allowed local authorities to enact face covering ordinances to slow the spread of the coronavirus. As you might imagine, within seconds of that announcement, phones are ringing off the hook, and we begin here in Peoria a pretty intensive internal review. The governor's message really was that the best interventions were those based on local needs, and that resonated with our mayor, who was very eager to support that approach. So she began reaching out to the executive team, and we took a very fast and as deep as we could look at what are neighboring jurisdictions doing. For consistency and lack of confusion across jurisdictional lines, it was important for us to know kind of what was happening. We're situated in the West Valley, kind of the opposite side of the valley from Kelly. So we wanted to know what was happening in our area so that we could be consistent. We're also beginning to hear that the county Board of Supervisors was considering drafting something. We wondered, would that be all encompassing? Would that preempt the cities? On the converse, if they repealed it soon after putting it in place, would that leave us with nothing? So at that point, kind of a strike while the iron was hot thought crossed some of our minds. And then the next piece was Zencity data. This was really, COVID and the masks in particular was really a test case for us with respect to Zencity. Because with any elected official, a sense of where the public stands on an issue is one important part of a decision-making process. It's not the only part, fortunately, but it is a big part. So in this case, it was quite evident that positive and negative sentiment were really neck and neck. But this data split was really not something to toss out. It was actually quite telling. And that is that, either way, you're going to upset a small segment of vocal constituents, but the overwhelming neutral sentiment really showed a path forward to follow the state's guidance, to follow the science, and to provide a pretty consistent regional approach.
Scottsdale's mask story, similar to Jay's, of course, in the same state under the same governor's executive orders. But I think it probably sounds a lot like a lot of people's around the country and even around the world potentially. Ours is a tale of uncertainty that was followed by outrage, and then now what we feel and hope continues to be acceptance. So if you've ever wondered what going viral looks like, take a look at this. This is the next slide. For the first time ever, we routed calls to the mayor and city council directly to voicemail. We have great staff who answer those calls, but it was too much. We were getting thousands and thousands of calls. Our staff were being abused. It was really, really rough. If you look at this volume of discourse from our Zencity insights, when this council member said these words, it pushed us on that one day toward 450,000 interactions. And to me, this insight really illustrates our overall progression as a community. The top bar is where we were in June, where we had pretty big chunks of polarized expression on this topic, people at one end or the other. And as a lot of us know in these situations, you're unlikely to move most of those people. You're really trying to talk to the people in the middle who may be uncertain or undecided. Well, what we were able to do through some things that I'll talk about next is grow that middle section, which is the second bar on that page. And this was a really kind of an aha moment for me that told me, oh, wow, I think what we're doing is working. And I think the overall public acceptance on this topic is growing, because that middle section of neutrality is, hey, if we can get people into that acceptance zone, they may not have to be happy about it, but if we can get people there, that's a good place. So we were really pleased to see that. The other thing that we've been doing is really just trying to demonstrate to people that we as a community are walking the walk. And as Asaf showed some of those great examples from around the country, we're trying to do it in a creative way. We have a 26-foot tall steel rabbit sculpture, which is probably not something every community has. But our public art folks created a giant yellow mask for the sculpture, whose name is One-Eyed Jack. And she made a matching mask for Mayor Lane. And so we took advantage of that opportunity to get some photos of the mayor and One-Eyed Jack and share that on social. And then next slide, please. I think a lot of us have tried to tap the love of animals to illustrate this. So this is Chase. He's our police crisis response canine. And he was good enough to model some mask wearing techniques, some do's and don'ts. And this was a very popular post as well. And then next slide, please. We have put together what we call our Healthy Scottsdale campaign. Our tagline, it started internally, is a healthy Scottsdale starts with you. And that is the tag that appears on all of our internal messaging related to this. But in the past few weeks, we have turned this to be a public facing campaign. And we've been doing a lot of posts about it. And just yesterday, we had a team get out into our business community in Old Town Scottsdale and deliver about 50 poster packs with these mask signs, with other signs, with hand washing signs, because we were noticing a lot of businesses were kind of slapping up homemade things. So we're providing our businesses and our organizations with these packs of information. They can download social posts from our website. And it really is, I think, helping get a consistent message out there into the community.